Welcome to John Wick, the most testosterone-filled movie of the century that teaches the best life lesson: never mess with a man's dog. We start the film with our super skilled retired hitman, John Wikipedia, crawling all around fucked up when he pulls out his phone to delete his browser history, just in case he dies, but then he gets sidetracked watching a cutesy video of him and his dead wife. We go back in time to see his wife actually dying from cancer and the funeral being held and all that. Later, he receives a package at his door. It's a dog with a letter from his dead wife that reads,
"Sup, dude? Sorry I kinda died and all that. I don't want you to be all alone baloney, so here's a dog. Have fun."
We wake up the next morning with the bagel dog being all cute, waking Johnny Silverhand up.
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
We see the dog is also potty trained already to not shit in the house. He whips up some cereal for him and the pup and head out for a ride in his sexy 1969 Mustang. He is fueling up when this Russian bitch comes over and tries to buy his car from him, but John tells him
she's not for sale.
So this Weenie Hut Jr. insults him in Russian, and John counters back, also in Russian, catching him off guard. He proceeds to take a joyride around an airfield to blow a load. He goes back home and hits the hay, and the dog wakes up in the middle of the night because he hears something. John goes to check it out and is caught off guard by some common bitches who end up beating his ass, killing his dog, and stealing his car. The leader of the group shows his face, and of course it turns out to be the same Russian dickhead from the gas station. Really quickly, I'm going to give you some information that doesn't come up until later in the film, but you need to know this so I can prove a point here. The Russian baby is the son of a guy who we later find out his name is Vigo, but we'll call him Viagra. Viagra is the mob eater boss man dude thing. John used to work for Viagra a couple years ago. John was the most skilled, respected, and feared assassin, but he asked to get out of the game because of women reasons, so Viagra agreed to give him his freedom if he could pull off a mission impossible task that John does end up pulling off. And according to Mr. V, that mission is what laid the foundation for the entire illegal empire as it is today. That's some important history and your own son doesn't know this. This is where my point comes in. How the hell does the son of an illegal empire not recognize the most recognizable figure in this made-up world? As the film goes on, you realize legitimately every single person in this film knows who the hell John Wick is, even the cops. Whatever. They leave, dog's dead, car's stolen, and his other car gets his tires slashed. Safe to say, John is pissed. He takes a bus ride over to his mechanic to see if his car has come through the shop, and it has. Joe Schmo swung by earlier with the car looking for a new VIN and papers, but Aurelios told him to scram, and Joe was like, "Hey yo, we own you, gringo," which gets him punched and kicked out of the shop. Mr. Gringo tells Jonathan what went down, and John says, "I need a ride," and gets a car lent to him. Then Aurelio gets a call from Mr. Vigo, and the call goes something like this.
Do you honestly think you're fucking funny fucking with my friend? Go and fucking crawl in the dirty dank little hole where you fucking come from, you dirty dragon eating little fucking spastic. So go fuck yourself.
Yeah, well, he stole John Wick's car and killed his dog.
Oh.
So Viagra calls his son in because he is fucking pissed about the situation his son has dragged him into. Classic dad fashion, he beats his son's ass for being stupid, then makes him clean up his own puke. Josephi is confused because he is always a shitty person and doesn't understand now of all times his dad cares. Vigo goes,
"It's not what you did, son, that angers me, sir. It's who you did it to."
He then goes into explaining who John is and how dangerous he is, even going as far as calling him the Baba Yaga or the Boogeyman. Vigo then says John isn't the Boogeyman, he's the one you sent to kill the Boogeyman. While we cut back to John beating up his basement floor in a spite of rage and anger to uncover his past that he has tried to bury, literally. The chest is full of weapons and black market currencies. Vigo tells his son that John will come for him and there's nothing he can do, because there is literally nothing he can do but accept his fate. But Vigo will still try to protect his son the best he can, so he pulls out his old phone book, finds John's number, and gives him a friendly call trying to fix the problem over the phone. He gives his condolences about his wife's death and goes,
"Let us not resort to our baser instincts and handle this like civilized men to move on."
V only angers John more, making him hang up without saying a word. Really, Vigo? That was your master plan to try and smooth things over? Maybe if you started by apologizing about your retarded son's behavior instead of practically calling him an uncivilized animal for the shit he hasn't even done yet. Give him back a couple cars and maybe a couple extra cars for a cherry on top. Even, maybe let him beat your son's ass if he promises not to kill him. I don't know, maybe anything other than what you just did. Anyways, Moist Critical begins preparing for what's to come, and we see the Baba Yaga be reborn. Vigo sends the Brady Bunch over to Wick's house to kill him, but the fight is about as fair as it would go for prime Mike Tyson fighting an elderly woman. John quickly gets to work absolutely demolishing everyone in his path. He starts blasting the hitmen one by one. He takes down a few and then has a quick reload break and then gets right back to shooting and beating the other hitman to a pulp. He snaps dude's neck on the kitchen counter. The last guy thought he was special, but quickly gets overpowered by John. The second all of this ends, a cop shows up at his doorstep because his house sounded like a firing range at 4 in the morning. John opens the door and the cop sees the bodies behind him and goes, "You working again, John?" John's like, "Nah, dog, just sorting out some business." The cop doesn't ask questions and just lets him go. This ties back into the beginning when I said literally everybody knows who John is, I guess, other than the son of the crime organization John literally works for. Also, I have a theory. The cop is a retired hitman just like John. That's why he's unfazed by the situation, almost acts as if this isn't the first time he's dealing with this. John calls up a cleaning crew to come discard of the mess, and he pays the crew in golden coins, which is the currency of the Continental. The Continental is a hotel chain for the hitmen and assassins in which they are not allowed to conduct work on property grounds, so it works pretty much like a safe house for the criminals. You get the point. The bodies are cleaned up, and Vigo is informed that Wick is still alive and isn't surprised, so he puts a bounty on his head of 2 million bones. Vigo throws his son in a nightclub surrounded by hitmen, hoping to draw John in so they have at least a chance of killing him. Then something that I can't wrap my head around happens. Vigo goes to the Green Goblin, who is one of John's best friends from the hitman days, to personally offer him a contract that is already unexclusive. So in reality, if Green Goblin already knew about the contract, he could take the contract. He still accepts the offer from Vigo, but instead of killing John, Marcus protects him multiple times, and Vigo later finds out and kills him for it. Why? Just why would you go to John's best friend and offer him a contract damn well knowing he will not kill him? And if he was so afraid that Marcus would help John, why not put a bounty on Marcus's head? And why would Marcus even agree to this in the first place? Does he think Vigo will just kill him if he says no? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Penguin Z0 gets in his car and heads to the Continental. He enters and gets himself checked into a room and then heads down to the underground nightclub area where he meets Winston, the manager of the Continental. John gets straight to business asking where Yosef is because he wants to have a nice conversation with him. Winston warns him to not dip his toes back into this world because he's already gotten out once and he will not be able to do it again. But Winston, being the good friend he is, gave the location of Sleepy Hoe to Wick, telling him he is held up in a nightclub called the Red Circle. Vigo gets the news John is at the Continental, so Viagra doubles the bounty for anyone willing to conduct business on the Continental and break the rules, which I'm pretty sure gets you the death penalty. John suits up to go pay a visit to the Red Circle, where the guards are already waiting for him to show up any minute. Bro, John literally shows up, standing across the street, walked right over, and sneaks up behind this guard. All of this insane, butt-clenching, super-duper high-end security, and you're telling me that no one is on cams watching the outside of the building. Okay. He gets a jump on the bouncer, who seems to be an old friend of Wick, so he spares his life, telling him to take the night off. John sneaks in and quietly takes out the first guy and breaks this bitch's legs and then interrogates him for the location of Yosef. Just want to point out that they do have cameras. They just clearly do not use them. He continues his stealth mission, taking guys out one by one. This part specifically highlights to me why he is the boogeyman. That's the eye contact of a man that wants you to feel death itself slowly open the door and take you. He sees daddy's little girl, but before he can do anything, he gets spotted and turns the stealth mission into a Rambo mission. John puts him in a death grip, blasts two other guys, and then aims right at Hefi Yosefi. John looks at him as if he's the Grim Reaper himself and then executes the guard without even looking. Hey, real men don't look at explosions. I do have to point out John has him at gunpoint, but doesn't shoot. So maybe he just wants to get up close and personal, you know what I mean? But he proceeds to then miss 6 fucking shots, showing him that he doesn't really care to get up that close. So maybe again, this is like a play with your food type feeling. I don't know. John takes 2 more men out and then follows after Bitch Boy. Yosef runs away half naked while John is in full boogeyman mode, moving through the crowd, dropping guards one by one. John continues taking out guards with technique and style, ensuring that he is the perfect KD. This room alone, he does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is hella disrespected. 6, 7, 8 does a crazy leg sweep and smokes dude in the face. Wick is cutting through all the bodyguards like a wet fart on a summer day until he is shot in the chest, but he played it up before this, so he's good. Wick runs out of ammo and the guard does as well. So they move into some crisp hand-to-hand combat just for John to get stabbed by a bottle and chucked over the balcony, landing on the dance floor, somehow not breaking his fucking back.
Dick.
Again, John forgot he has a gun and he decided to square up with the guy, or Wick really is that fucking dog looking for any reason to rip and tear. But honestly, I think it's a mix of both. As Wick is leaving, he gets a call from the phone he stole and is like, "Yo, buddy's dead, bro.
If I need your body, I'll fucking...
Yeah, bro is absolutely deep fish fried in uranium jet fuel paste, like fucking cooked to the max." Hefi Yosefi does escape, and Johnny on the spot gets back to the Continental. The doctor patches up the stab wound he endured during the fight in the club. Kinda sounds like a normal night in the UK. Doc gives him some Tylenol or some shit, just in case he needs to get back out there before he's fully healed. Then he goes to bed with Marcus watching over him with a sniper rifle. He shoots a warning shot next to his face to alert him that an intruder just broke in to collect that bag. And of course, it's this sly hoe woman called Percocet, here to claim that double bounty on Wickerton. They have a good old scrap. She beats the shit out of John's side. John gets thrown around a bit, then he locks in and realizes he can't let a girl beat his ass. So he wraps a blanket around her face, punching the shit out of her, and then throwing her through the glass wall. She's like, "No." Wikipedia forces her to spill the beans on any information on Hefi or Vigo. She tells John about a church that Vigo uses for his private stash and houses all of his blackmail material. He knocks her out, passes the job over to this dude named Harry, and asks him if he wants to make an extra coin if he hands her over to the Continental. John was just on the phone with the guy at the front desk. I don't know why he wouldn't have just handed her over right then and there. She's already knocked out. And of course, she does end up escaping later on by dislocating her thumb, getting out of the handcuffs, and blasting Harry through the pillow, which definitely would not suppress a 357 Magnum. Armed Jesus pops his power-ups and heads into the church and asks the priest,
"You mind if I praise the Lord, baby Jesus Christ?"
He turns on his aimbot, dropping all the guards before anyone realizes the literal Grim Reaper just walked in. John makes the priest open up the vault so he can burn all that shit down. John waits for Vigo to arrive, and then he comes out smoking barrels. He drops a few of the guards until this guy jumps in his car and tries to run his ass over, knocking him out. Keanu wakes up handcuffed to a chair in the church with Vigo saying shit like,
"People don't change, Jonathan. You can't escape this light. It will always follow you."
Then hit him with,
"It was just a car.
And a fucking dog. Get over it.
John says the dog was a final gift from his dead wife, and he most certainly is not gonna be letting this shit go.
You want to know if I'm back?"
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Vigo doesn't care enough to listen and has his gooners bag his head and choke him out. But of course, John being in God mode allows for him to have his guardian angel Marcus save his booty cheeks. John tackles and chokes out this guard even while being in handcuffs. He has just enough time to catch Vigo leaving, shooting out the car, making it crash, and taking out the driver.
Cool it.
He holds Vigo at gunpoint, makes him pull the contract, and also tell him where Yosef is being held.
I know you're coming. Of course. But it won't matter.
This is the moment Vigo knows his son is fucked. John leaves to go cap his paranoid son being held in a safe house, while Vigo lights up a doobie, accepting the fact that he can no longer keep his son safe. John picks off the guards one by one and blows up their only way of escaping. Hefi Yosefi tries to run away, but giving John the chance to walk up in the coldest manner possible and plug him right in the fucking face hole. John seems to be content enough to go back to the Continental and check out. As he is leaving, he is gifted a new car for his inconvenience from the earlier night with Perky. He drives off to meet Marcus, thanking him for all the help. That bitch Perky is watching though, and goes to snitch on him to Vigo. That night, Vigo's guards follow Green Goblin back to his house to confront him about helping John. Vigo shows up personally to beat the brakes off his face, and then continues to mad dump on me for not taking John out when he had the chance. Vigo then calls John to rub it in his face that he just killed his closest friend. Yep, that was a great idea. Call the man that could kill someone 100 different ways with a laundry basket and tell him you just murked his best buddy right after you just got him off your back. John hits this crisp U-turn and heads over to Marcus' house to find him riddled with bullets. At the same time, Percocet gets called by the Continental to meet up with Winston for breaking the rules, and when she gets there, she gets dropped. Winston calls up John and lets him know a certain someone is fueling up a chopper near a pier. He didn't have to do this, but he clearly likes John a lot because this is the second time he's helped him out. So Gun Jesus gets in his car and races over to the pier before Vigo can escape and pit maneuvers one of the cars into the pit of death. I don't know what to call this. Then John does the same thing to Vigo's car, slamming him into a solid steel pole. This should have broken at least a few bones from the guards, but they all get out and start blasting at John, trying to help Vigo. Dog, all I will say is Vigo must be paying these boys good, because to willingly step out and go after John is a death march. Doesn't matter. John goes all Jackie Chan using his car kung fu, smoking these dudes. Vigo
You almost had it. You gotta be quick.
goes around by dangling a gun in his face. The right-hand man literally takes one shot at him and emotes while he's actually letting me use a real gun. Bro, this isn't CSGO. Why are you inspecting your gun like it has a skin on it or something? Whatever. John shoots him and then runs him over with his car. Vigo takes control of his car and tries to ram John into the death pit. He's able to escape by crawling out the back window and jumping at the last second. Looks like he landed in the ocean with how much it's pissing rain. With John freshly showered, he posts up with Vigo, and Vigo goes, "No more guns. No more guns, John." Bet it's on site. They both get scrapping. But, of course, Vigo pulls out a knife because why would this chicken shit have honor? John is unfazed and continues without hesitation. They fight a bit, and then Chad Wickington pulls out this move and allows the knife to go into him so he can break Vigo's arm and steal the blade, jamming it into his shoulder and giving him a slow and painful death, letting him bleed out in this hurricane because fuck this guy. He walks away with his aura intact and starts to play his porn. He patches himself up in a dog kennel, picks himself up a dow. I think he sees himself in this cutie patootie, takes it for a nice casual walk home, and the end. This movie gets 10 Johnny Silverhands out of 10 time stones. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.